Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we're reading from the 11th canto, chapter 2, verse number 12. The cleansing power of Bhagavata Dharma. Shuto nu pathito dhyata adrito vanumodita sadya punati saddharmo deva vishvadruhopihi. Translation and purport by servants of His Divine Grace, ISKCON founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Pure devotional service rendered to the Supreme Lord is spiritually so potent that simply by hearing about such transcendental service, by chanting its glories in response, by meditating on it, by respectfully and faithfully accepting it, or by praising the devotional service of others, even persons who hate the demigod and all other living beings can be immediately purified. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has commented that the word Saddharma refers to Bhagavata Dharma. This is also confirmed by Sridhara Swami. Bhagavad Dharma is spiritually so powerful that even those who by worldly standards are implicated in various ways in sinful behavior can easily be purified by adopting any of the processes mentioned in this verse. In the practice of ordinary piety, one worships God with the expectation of receiving something in return for one's service. Similarly, the impersonalist aspires for his own liberation, wishfully thinking that he will become equal to God. In Bhagavad Dharma, however, there is no such impurity. Bhagavad Dharma is devotional service to the Lord, in which the only objective is the satisfaction of the Lord. If one rejects this process and instead wants to hear about, teach, or meditate upon another process, the chance for immediate purification is lost. Neither ordinary materialistic yoga processes meant for achieving mystic powers, nor impersonal processes based on speculation have the power to purify immediately those who have fallen into sinful behavior. Saddharma or Bhagavata Dharma, pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is unique in that even the most fallen souls can immediately rise to the highest perfectional stage by surrendering at the lotus feet of Krishna or his pure devotee. This was vividly demonstrated in the preaching work of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially in the case of the sinful brothers Jagai and Madai. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master very kindly opened my darkened eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I offer my obeisances to my spiritual master. Hare Krishna. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is sometimes described as a spiritual symphony with 12 movements. The 10th canto being the crescendo, the climax of the whole musical piece. Krishna's pastimes, the 10th canto, the full revelation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his sweetest, his most intimate form. It's the 10th canto. It's beautiful. It's the largest canto. It reveals so much about the Supreme Lord. So a natural question arises. Why doesn't the Bhagavatam end there? After all, the hero has appeared, enacted his pastimes, and returned to his eternal abode. What remains? Why the 11th canto? But the sages understood that the story of God is incomplete without the story of the soul that realizes God. So the 11th canto is the bridge between revelation and realization, between the darshan, the vision of Krishna, and the life that follows such a vision. What happens after you get that blessing? If the 10th canto is about Krishna revealed, the 11th canto is about Krishna remembered. It teaches us how to live in the world after having seen the absolute truth. Remembrance of Krishna is the essence of all the scriptures. Smartavya satatam Vishnu, vismartavya na jatachit. Sarve vidhi nishedhasyur, etayoreva kinkara. All the injunctions in all the scriptures, the do's and the don'ts, they're all servants of the two key injunctions, which is always remember Krishna, and the other one is never forget him. So it's all about remembrance, how to remember. That's what the 11th canto is about. So at the end of the 10th canto, Krishna concludes his pastimes on planet Earth, and he prepares to withdraw his visible form. But before departing, he leaves behind two very important things: his devotees and his teachings. Those teachings come in the form of the Uddhava Gita, Krishna's final message to his very dear devotee, Uddhava, and through the dialogues of the 9 Yogendras with King Nimi. Thus, the 11th canto becomes like a manual for those who ask. And like Uddhava also asked, how do I remain steady in devotion when you are no longer physically present? We like to do devotional service. That's what devotees like. We like to go to the temple. We feel exhilarated. It's such a wonderful feeling when we're chanting, when we take darshan, when we serve each other, when we serve the deities, when we engage in festivals. But how do we remain steady? Steadiness is actually so much more difficult. But that's what this is about. It's about steadiness. So we can divide the 11th canto into 3 parts. So the first 3 chapters is the dialogue between King Nimi and the 9 Yogendras, the sons of Rishabdev. And they appear mysteriously before King Nimi. They answer his profound questions. His questions are about devotion, they're about liberation, and especially this section about the qualities of a true bhakta. Then the chunk of it, the core of the 11th canto is Uddhava Gita, many chapters, chapter 4 through 29, where Krishna is personally instructing Uddhava on renunciation, bhakti, and surrender. And then 30-31 as the departure of the Yadus and Krishna's disappearance from the world, winding up his earthly mission. So the themes of this canto are renunciation, pure bhakti, understanding who the pure devotee is, detachment from notions of false religiosity, and the ultimate refuge exclusively in the Lord, only the Lord. So King Nimi is a descendant of Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku is the forefather of Lord Ram. It comes in the Sun dynasty, solar dynasty, and was a very saintly ruler. He's one of the Raj Rishis, very deeply interested in spiritual realization. So in this canto, he represents the ideal spiritual seeker. You'll notice this theme. It's very prominent all across the Bhagavatam. You have a seeker who's asking questions, and then you have the authority in spirituality who's answering them. You have Sutta Goswami speaking to the sages, and then you have Shukadev Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, and so on. So all these, there's lots of, it's basically conversation and conversation. So in this particular canto, King Nimi plays a role in the opening parts. These 9 Yogendras, Avihotra, Giri, and so on, they are the sons of Rishabdev. Rishabdev is an incarnation of the Lord. They wander the universe like Avadutas, detached, absorbed in meditation. And each of them answers one of King Nimi's 9 questions about the path of bhakti and the nature of liberation. So in the course of this conversation, our verse from today appears. Shuto nu patito dhyata adrito vanamodita sadhya punati saddharmo deva vishvatrahopi. So this verse is remarkable because it reveals that bhakti purifies instantly. Sadhya punati. And there are 5 ways to touch its power. Shruta. Shruta means by hearing. Hearing about devotional service. Remember, this, the focus here is the process of devotional service, not really about Krishna directly. So hearing about the process in itself is purifying. Then anupatita. Anu means to follow. Patita means to read. So to recite means, after hearing, and you follow upon it by reading it, by sharing with others, reciting it to others. That's immediately purifying. Then dhyata, meditating on it, ruminating, let it marinate in your mind. Think about it, analyze it, meditate. That's what it is, dhyata, meditate. Means focus, dhyan. This is very important. It's like chewing the food. You don't just swallow it, you have to chew it, and you can really process it and absorb it better when you think about it deeply. Then the 4th one listed in this verse is adrita, accepting it respectfully, accepting it with faith. Adar means to respect. Respect is very important. Sometimes when we learn that, okay, in Krishna consciousness, we avoid certain things, we do certain things. In the beginning, we may feel, oh, this is so difficult, or this is impossible, or even no human can possibly do this. There's just no way. I'm sorry to say. It can't be done. Not only can it not be done, the fact that you're even asking people to do it in itself is despicable. You shouldn't be telling people that you should stop gambling or stop eating meat. You should not be. In fact, the principle itself is wrong. This is called disrespect. See, just because we have difficulty keep living up to the standard doesn't mean the principle is to be rejected or resented. So when we are not resentful of the principle and we're respectful of the principle, then we can get immediate purification. This is important. You can say, I'm not able to reach the standard, but I appreciate very much those who do. I respect them so much. In fact, I look up to them. I want to learn from them how they manage it or how they came out of some bad habits. Please teach me. It's wonderful. It's called adra, adrita, respectfully accepting it. So even if you just remove all traces of resentment toward the process, that in itself is immediately purifying. And then the last one mentions anumodita. Anumodita means praising or approving or appreciating the devotional service of others. This is very powerful because it strengthens our own faith in the process. And this too is immediately purifying. So each one of these actions, even a single one, has the power to purify instantly. Even a person who is, as the verse says, Deva Vishva Druha, someone who's hostile to the great demigods or the empowered personalities or other people in general, even that kind of person who is just very bitter about everything and cynical and harsh, even such a person, if they can do one of these, they can be purified from misgivings. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that Sad Dharma means Bhagavat Dharma, pure devotional service to the Lord without any ulterior motive. Now, this process is categorically different from what's known as ordinary religiosity or ordinary philosophy. This process is, by comparison and by category, extraordinary. Okay, what's the difference? What is ordinary religion? What's ordinary philosophy? So ordinary religion or religiosity is technically known as karma kanda. It's found in the scriptures, it's found in Vedic scriptures, it's found in other scriptures around the world, where one performs pious acts with an acceptance of higher powers and the expectation of material rewards. That's karma kanda. Those rewards can take many shapes, but the aspiration is for enjoyment in the world. That's what we call ordinary religion, or even a kind of cheating religion, because you're not really going for God. You're reaching God, trying to reach God to get something other than God. See? Then the other aspect of ordinary, say, philosophy is called Jnana Kanda, where one strives for liberation, relief from the material bondage, or equality with God. See, there again, the aim is selfish. I want relief, not that let me develop love. And if it means that I have more pain, so be it. But I want to lovingly serve the Lord, selflessly. See, with Jnanakan, the idea is, again, selfish. I want relief, and I want equal footing with the Lord. So it also has that additional layer of hubris, which takes selfishness to the next level. But in Bhagavata Dharma, the goal is nothing but Krishna's pleasure. And because this Dharma is pure, it carries its own potency. It's like fire. It purifies anything it touches, regardless of the condition of the object. Example that's given in the purport, we see in Mahaprabhu's mission, the brothers Jagai Madai, classic sinners, drunkards, blasphemers, violent offenders. And yet, by the mere contact with Mahaprabhu's devotees and by their later repentance and chanting, they became Paramahamsas, great devotees. Their transformation was not gradual. It was immediate. Sadhya punati. Sadhya means right away, instantaneous. So this verse that we're reading today, it predicts that miracle, the power of bhakti to instantly awaken the dormant love, even in those who are, let's say, most estranged from spirituality and from divinity. Even such people. So let's reflect on these 5 in practical life. Shruta, Anupatita. Shruta, hearing. We can ask ourselves now this. Do we hear attentively? Not just to gather information, but to receive transformation. We can, when we hear something, we can always approach it from different ways. What do we want to get out of that hearing process? Do we want to hear it passively, where we feel that, just by vibes, something good will happen? And usually, always when you hear something spiritual, some good will happen, whether you understand it or not. But if you hear it with the aim to understand, to gather the knowledge, that's better than just turning it on and zoning out. But to hear with the aim that I want to change, and I know these words are going to move me and change me and transform me, that's the next level of hearing, beyond just gathering information. It's not passive, it's the soul opening up itself to purification. So that's the level of Shruta. We can always improve. We hang on to every word and scrutinizingly try to figure out, how can I leverage this message to bring my heart closer to Krishna, to melt at least the edges of my steel-framed heart. Should evaluate these things. We don't need to evaluate other people's pride, we should evaluate our own. Then anupatita, reciting. In other words, we're sharing what we have heard. When we share what we learn in Krishna consciousness, Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh, whoever you see, tell them Krishna's message. When we share, we double the purification, because now we're repeating it to purify ourselves. And then the person who's hearing it, they also get purified. So when we share, you get double the benefit. And we know when we teach something, we learn it more deeply. So when we teach, when we're speaking Krishna Katha with sincerity, it turns the ear into a conduit, a canal, where the mercy can flow. The sharing part is very important. Anupatita. Then dhyata. Dhyata means meditating. So after hearing, if we pause and let the verse dwell in our consciousness, it makes a big difference. Like after the class is over, take a minute, just 1 minute or two, to recollect, and pause. What was one or two or three striking points? Even if you've heard them a million times before, they will still have a transformative effect on us. So we can do this dhyan. The dhyata, meditate on it. We pause. We allow, when we do that, we allow bhakti to shape our thought patterns. And that's the success of a good hearing session. As my thought pattern changed, because we think in patterns, we fall into a kind of groove, different kinds of grooves when we think about different things. But now we start seeing the world through Shastra Chakshush. So when we meditate on the message, the idea is to recut some of those grooves, realign our thought patterns, realign what we allow ourselves to get emotional about. We adjust our emotional patterns too. And this is why devotees, when they're progressive, they become more tolerant, more caring, more loving, more forgiving. All these things happen. These are transformative patterns, the transformations. That's a result of dhyata. If we don't take the time to think it through, think about it, then the transformative effect is not fully there. Then we talked about adrita. These are all words directly from the verse. When we read a Bhagavatam verse, we should try to take each of the words and see what we can get out of it. And there's so much in this. Just look at this one line. So adrita means accepting with faith. Even if we cannot fully follow, we should honor the process. And to the degree we honor it, to that degree it acts upon us. Yes. Remember, bhakti is a living, breathing, divine personality. So even when you approach the bhakti process, Bhakti Devi, with respect, we get the blessings of Bhakti Devi, and things that we thought we would never be able to do, habits we thought we'd never be able to kick, they are gone. And we're able to do things. That's why we hear this a lot of times. Devotees recite Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim. Even the deaf and dumb, the mute, can start speaking, and a disabled person can cross mountains. Someone with broken legs can cross mountains if he gets the mercy of the Lord. So if we approach with respect, we can get that sort of, it's like a magnet that attracts grace, attracts mercy of the Lord. And then, of course, Anumodita. We rejoice in others' bhakti. And this is probably one of the most neglected and yet the most sublime form of devotion. To feel joy when others serve Krishna well. We should make it part of our life to really appreciate, in private, in public, especially in public. Envy is the last anartha to leave the heart. And this anumodana, this anumodita line here is anumodanam, it destroys envy completely. Really appreciating others and glorifying their bhakti. It really removes those traces of envy. Even a critic can become purified if he sincerely appreciates another's devotion. So let's consider some more insights, some deeper insights into this. First, bhakti's potency lies in the object itself. Bhakti burns independently. Bhakti itself is very powerful. It doesn't matter who the performer is. The Jagai Madai or some very advanced Brahmana, bhakti will burn all the sins. Burns independently. Doesn't wait for our purity. It produces our purity. That's why Srila Prabhupada could transform entire generations with a few words, these potent, pure words, or just a glance, or simply a piece of prasadam from his hands. Second, this verse, it challenges our pride. Say we are proud about our austerity or something like that. And sometimes we measure our spiritual progress by external standards or efforts. But the Lord is declaring that even one who hears with faith or praises another's devotion can surpass that austere yogi who meditates for lifetimes. So we should not be proud about external achievements, even in the devotional process. Just need to have respect and approach with humility. And third, this anumodita, glorifying others, it's a sign of humility. An advanced devotee no longer competes in devotion. He celebrates it wherever he finds it. That joy of celebration for another devotee's progress purifies faster than austerity or study. But can we do it genuinely? Sometimes we feel, oh my God, why is she getting so much ahead of me? Like she's so much younger than me, and yet she's like miles ahead. It makes me very uncomfortable. That blocks our progress. So if we glorify others' growth and support it, then it makes us more humble, and it accelerates our progress. And fourth is that bhakti, it's inclusive, and so its inclusivity has to shape our preaching. In other words, even those who hate the demigods and other men and mean people, they can be purified by hearing bhakti. Then who are we to exclude anyone? Of course, we're careful how we approach different people who are cynical and nasty. That's a different thing. But we don't close our doors of the temple to certain kinds of people, certain groups of people. No, we include them. It's open to every soul, no matter how broken or confused they are. Of course, we have to engage them differently depending on their level of conditioning. So, then the phrase Sadhya Punati purifies immediately. That's revolutionary. It's telling us something different than what we're used to. The transformation is not a distant or theoretical thing. It can happen at this very moment through hearing, chanting, or appreciating devotion. One touch of bhakti can reverse the momentum of countless lifetimes of turning away from Krishna. As that Prabhupada said, he insisted, simply here. You can see how he's, in fact, there's that very famous video. Prabhupada said, 1 moment, 1 minute, that's all it takes, just 1 minute. It doesn't take very long. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about this sadhya punati, immediate. But we have to be ready to receive it. So whether on the street or in the temple or online, if someone even once sincerely hears the glories of the Lord with faith, with respect, then the spiritual journey has begun. So later in the same section of the Bhagavatam, this 9 Yogendras, they'll describe the qualities of pure devotee, how they see the Lord everywhere, they remain ever humble, and they serve without expectation. So the verse we read today is a seed of that progression as we learn more and more. So keep an eye out on all these wonderful things that are going to come up as we explore these next few verses and next couple of chapters. It's quite powerful. And see if you can remember how the qualities described of this top-class devotee are seen in Prabhupada's Leelas. Every single quality you can find some anecdote of Prabhupada that just so clearly highlights how he is a top-class devotee. So this is the trajectory of the 11th canto. From Shrutonu Patita, the hearing, the soul evolves to Sarva Bhuteshu Yapashyet, seeing the Lord in everyone. That's described towards the end of this chapter. So it's a trajectory from contact with devotion to constant vision of the divine. Continuously. So as a closing meditation, let's ask ourselves quietly, am I hearing to criticize or hearing to be purified? Do I feel envy or joy when I see another devotee shine? Do I trust the potency of bhakti as much as this verse promises? Do I really believe it? If we can answer these honestly, this verse can transform us today. The Prabhupada said, simply by hearing the Bhagavatam, you become liberated. You don't have to become a great scholar or yogi. Just hear with faith. That hearing, that praise, that faith, this is Bhagavata Dharma. It purifies not tomorrow, not later, but now. Thank you very much for your kind attention and for your valuable time. My obeisances to all of you. We have a few minutes for comments or questions if you'd like. Hare Krishna. Yes, okay, we have some hands up over here. Okay, let's see. We have, sure, there's a question on the chat. I'll see if I can address that first. Jeffrey Ackler asked, there's a near paradoxical risk in the nature of inclusiveness, creating an exclusive society. This is why humility is so important. No? How to walk the line of knowing you found a better way without becoming proud in the face of those who are still asleep. Yes, how to walk the line of knowing you found a better way without becoming proud. Yes, this is a very classic holier than thou trap. Very classic. My way is the best, obviously. And I've seen all the ways in the world. I've studied everything. I know it all. I know I've checked them all out. They're also okay, not bad. But this one's the best. Why is the best? Well, because I selected it. You see, you have to ask the question, why is it the best? It's like saying that, my full-size Webster's dictionary is the best. Because the medium-sized dictionary, it's just medium-sized. But it's still both valid. So we can have respect for all paths. And we, of course, the guidelines here is that we need to develop humility in the sense that the Lord potency is available in all valid paths that are out there. It's very possible to attain pure devotional service through another path if you follow it sincerely. And it's totally possible for us to completely miss the point when you're claiming to be in the best path. It could be the best path. It could be the most intimate. It gives more details and everything, but we approach it in a selfish way. So it all depends on how we approach it. And therefore, our humility to maintain that is paramount. Our utter respect for all the other processes is paramount. We don't have to compromise on it. And we can say, it's the best path. That's what I'm following. It's the best one I've found, and therefore I'm following it. If the other one is better, I'll leave this one. And if you can show me something better, I'll take it. You can have that integrity too. That's also kind of humility, But the fact that we're following it is, at least in my heart, means it's the best. It's like in a wedding. Everyone's wedding. There's the bride and there's the groom, and then there's the best man. I mean, if he's the best man, why is she marrying this guy? Right? So the best path. What is best? It doesn't really matter. It's best for me. So we have to avoid that sense of that your religion is so awful, you're going to hell for sure. And we've seen flavors of that in our world. You guys are all worshiping demons and things, so on and so forth. We've heard that ourselves. We don't need to worry too much about that. We just need to pay obeisance to everybody, see the conditioning that's there in everyone else and also in us, and recognize that we have our own path to walk, a long way to go. Yes. Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay, Min, Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for a wonderful class. Great. So we've heard that even a single item from the process, the 5 process of hearing, reciting, meditating, and accepting, and that one can be instantaneously purified when one comes across that. And we also heard that Chagai Mada, even their transformation was not gradual, that it was instantaneous. Is it possible, does this apply to just the people who are coming to the path at the very get-go, or is it possible for also people who've been on the path even for a few years, or even for 50 years? Yeah, I'm wondering if that's, as I'm asking this question, I'm hearing myself being impatient, actually. So, yeah, thank you.
This is a great question. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that everyone follows my path in all respects. You might have heard that verse. It's a very interesting verse. How is it? Everyone, even the materialists? In one sense, yes, because everyone's seeking happiness. So we're all on the path in some form or another. Even the selfish materialist atheist people, they're on the path of progress. Of course, when we say the path, we're talking about, actively, consciously trying to develop love for God. A transformation of great magnitude, quantum shift or quantum leap, can and does happen even in a person who's been practicing for a long time. It can, and it does. We see examples. Bilva Mangal Thakur. Bilva Mangal Thakur was a devotee, but then he fell down again into this bad habit and following, and then he had a massive transformation. And he saw, he literally was in the presence of the Lord. The Lord would speak to him and stuff like that. But before that, so he was devotee, then he blooped and he left the process and he was doing the worst kind of sins. And then again, the massive transformation. So it's not like he was on the path, you see. And then so it doesn't matter what level of path you're at. And those of us, if we are fortunate enough to be chanting Hare Krishna, we have to accept that this is by the grace of some devotee who has given us this. We don't deserve it, but somehow we've got it. So let's appreciate it. And then we make gradual process. Gradual process is also the standard way of happening. But what this verse is saying is that it's so potent that it's also not atypical to see substantial transformation immediately. You see? So, of course, Jagai Madai represent the most dramatic example of instant transformation. But it can apply to anyone at any stage of spiritual journey, beginner, intermediate, or even advanced. Though that expression of the purification can differ according to where you're standing. You know, bhakti, by its very constitution, is shuddha, sarupa shuddha. It's pure. So its purifying effect is not time dependent, but it's contact dependent. When the jiva touches bhakti with sincerity, whether for the first time or the 1,000th time, the soul becomes realigned with its original nature. Think of sunlight. When sunlight falls on the dirty street, or it falls on the temple spire, the radiance is the same. If you open the window, the light comes in, whether the room has been dark for years or it's just been dark for a night. See, so even a long-time practitioner can be, quote unquote, instantly purified because bhakti renews itself at every moment. That's why we have this Cheto Darpana Marjan. We have to clean the window every day, clean the mirror every day. Every day we have to clean it. See? The difference, what's the difference then? The difference lies in what gets purified. For newcomers, the purification is often gross, removal of obvious sins, addictions, materialistic thinking, right? Meat eating, all those things. For newcomers, that's their big thing, big purification. For those who have been on the path longer, the purification can be subtle, usually it's subtle. Like the burning away of pride. Others may not see it, but it can happen instantaneously by some blessing the Lord gave you. It could be very painful, but it happens. See? It could be burning away of complacency, like we're just in a rut and all of a sudden we have so much joy because the Lord blessed you. Somehow you came out of it. It can burning away of envy, something that's been creeping in your heart for 10 years and it's pulled out, like extracting a rotten tooth or something. Wow. It can be instantaneous. It can be pulling away the illusion of advancement. That can happen too. That's also mercy of the Lord. So in both cases, whether it's the gross or the other one, the process is the same, but the depth differs. The new devotee's transformation looks more dramatic like Jagai Madai. The mature devotee's instant, almost cataclysmic transformation can be silent and inward, a deep softening of the heart, a return to genuine humility, completely giving up this false pretension, and a fresh taste, fresh awakening of the taste. See? So, but it does happen for practitioners as well. See? Now, instant doesn't mean that all impurities vanish forever in one moment. It just means the connection to purities is established right away. The spark of bhakti lights instantaneously, but how brightly it burns depends on how we fan it. See? So yes, one moment of genuine hearing or glorification can reset our trajectory, even if years of routine have created a dullness in the heart. Is that okay, Min?
Yes, thank you so much. That was so
Great
helpful.
question. Great question. I think it's almost time for our curtains to open. Let's see if the great Adi Purush Prabhu or can Adi Purush Prabhu, do we have oh yes, oh Janita Prabhu, please, are we opening the curtain right now, or is it still some time?
Still maybe a little bit of time, but not much. Maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes at the most.
Okay. I see, let's see. Stephanie asked something. Scriptures, doesn't it say in the age of Kali, Bhakti Yoga is the way? It's too hard to do any other way in this age. Yes, Stephanie, you're very right. 100%. The process of devotional service. Well, actually, Bhakti Yoga has been the only way in all the ages, all the yugas. Bhakti Yoga is devotional service of Supreme Lord. In Kali, the most potent bhakti process is chanting. You see, in the previous yugas, even the meditation is also bhakti, because meditating on the Lord. Worshipping the deity is also bhakti, of course. Doing fire sacrifice is also bhakti, because please the Lord Narayan. So it's not that those are not bhakti. But in this yuga, those processes have lost a lot of their potency because there's a lot of dependence on other factors. See, for yajnas, you need very pure ingredients. For meditation, you need pure mind and long lifespan, so on. For deity worship, you need, again, pure ingredients, pure heart, and so many things, which is very rare. But in Kali Yuga, you don't need any of those. You just start. It's like a big hammer there. Yeah. So looks like curtains are opening. Hare Krishna. Request everyone to turn on your cameras if you like.
Shiva, Nidar, Gorchand, Bhagavan, Ki Jai. Arhavatam samasitam Urasudaram Bhagavatamaniya Visheshasvam Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Shishira Gargo Chandra Bhagavan Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Lotus feet of our spiritual master. The only lotus feet of our spiritual master. I pray so and trust I wish to suffer and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My holy wishes that my conscience is purified by the words emanating from the lotus mat. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him standard emanates. By him ignites and destroys. The Vedic scriptures sing in his character. Our spiritual masters, devotion and mercy. Friend of the poor Lord of masters and devotees. O Master, listen to us. Give us a shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Madan Gopal Prabhu, for the wonderful class as always. Are you available for a few minutes for the afterglow?
Yes, sure, of course.
Thank you, dear devotees. This is overtime. Please be brief. If anyone has a question, this is the time. Or if you'd like to share a reflection, please go ahead. Hare Krishna. Last call.
I reflect that your co-host, Ram, is cooler than you.
I know. Madan Gopal Prabhu, I have a question. If we are, you said we were progressive devotees, and I was thinking, yes, we're making progress, but it's so slow. How do we get faster in being progressive? I'm progressive, but I'm so slow.
Yeah. It's a good question. Actually, His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj talks about this. And he says that we have to see, because we have so many varieties of things at our disposal in terms of the devotional process, not just one thing. Of course, the main thing is chanting, but how to approach a chanting, we can approach in so many different ways, you know. So sometimes what needs to happen is a jump start. You know, if we fall into a rut where everything is just, okay, we're in a plateau where we're not making any gains. Okay, I'm doing my rounds. I think everything is fine. You know, I'm taking care of my health. It's okay. It's not great, but it's not bad. And maintaining the family. But if we're not constantly relishing the remembrance of the Lord in our heart and being moved to tears every few minutes, you know, we're not there, right? We know that. We know that's the goal, to be so much in love with Krishna. So that vision, at least we know. But to move toward that, and like I said, you know, to be progressive means that did I make even a small increment in my devotional service from yesterday? And this increment doesn't have to be measured in terms of external things that we did. See, it can be, because an internal transformation. But sometimes external things can give a jump start. Like, for example, I'll block out one weekend where I'll do 64 rounds and work, make it work. Like, you know, like sometimes we go on vacation, we make it work. Okay, I'm not going to be at work, I'm going to be at home, you know, and we go on vacation for, you know, for maybe 3-4 days. We can do that, but stay at home and make it work so that we don't have anything else to do other than the chanting. You just do it once a year even, but plan it, you know, like we plan our vacations. This is showing Krishna that I'm interested in really doing a massive jump start to my spiritual consciousness. And then we can, leading up to it, you can do so many things to prepare, to make sure you get the most out of that 64-round session. You know, so some things that we can do to go out of our way, step out of our comfort zone, to really beg to Krishna for his mercy, to take us to the next level. You know, because we can't do it on our own strength. Now we say, okay, but you're planning, you're doing something, that's your own strength, isn't it? It's not really our strength. The thing that's pulling us up is Krishna's mercy. All we're doing is begging. But begging also takes some time and focus. You have to put your hands like this. But I'm too busy because my hands are doing other things. No. Take some time off, put your hands like this and really cry. But to get to that stage, you really need to put in the time and effort and some sustained, initiatives. So that's why, some of these japa retreats, I'll tell you, myself, I had a massive transformation when I attended Sachinanda Maharaj's japa retreat in 2008. Prior to that retreat, japa was something that came in the way of my day. After that, my day was something that came in the way of my japa. It's completely different. And it has been, and I still feel the difference. I still feel it, and it's been quite a few years. Because there's a potency of, Guru Maharaj, one, and second, the other devotees around, and third, the potency of the holy name. And also the fact that we spent 8 days doing nothing but focusing on chanting. No other goal was there. We didn't even have cell signal in that retreat center. It just wasn't there. Day and night was focused on how can I get better in japa and be closer to Krishna. 8 days, out of which like 2 or 3 days we did 64 rounds. We didn't speak any other word. It's very powerful. So if you can, I'm not saying you go for 8 days, but you do a weekend even. You don't have to do 64 rounds per day. You can do 32 and 32 or whatever. I'm just saying, find something to give you a jump start, a kick start. Look for a quantum leap. Krishna will appreciate it. Your heart will appreciate it. It's just one thought. There's so many other ways you can do this. Thank you.
Madan Gopal Prabhu. That's very practical.
Yes.
Prabhu.
Whoops.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Madan Gopal. Haribo.
Haribo.
I'm struggling with something in my japa this morning. I thought to bring up with you. I attended the last Sadhu Sangha, and which was here in Florida, in Orlando, and there was so many amazing personalities and gurus, and it's interesting. It's just coming up for me. It's like when getting up for Mangalarti and then japa. There's so many people who was there doing kirtan on the stage, and also there were like some separate things where they were doing some classes. But there was literally like only one of the gurus out of so many that were getting up for Mangalarti and japa, and the rest weren't showing up. And also pretty much all the kirtaniyas who were chanting, not all, but most of them were not showing up for Mangalarti, japa. And my mind is going like, what is this? Is this, I'm just being vulnerable. Like, I don't think it's necessarily right, but is this just performances? People are, they're not actually digging deep into the process of sadhana, and then so many of the gurus, most of them are not there. So my mind is disturbed thinking of this. So many months after, even. Maybe you can help me with this.
Sorry, I was mute. Yes, it's a good question. It's a heartfelt observation, and I appreciate you being vulnerable. That you're not being judgmental necessarily. And you're not alone in feeling that way. Every sincere devotee faces at some point that moment in our heart which wants to honor. We want to emulate advanced souls, and we feel unsettled seeing the apparent gaps in their practice. Like, this is like the main thing, you got to show up. Then after that you take, So let's unpack this, right? First, let's evaluate why it feels disturbing. When we're trying to cultivate enthusiasm and discipline, waking up early, going for Mangalarti, chanting attentively, we look to the senior devotees and gurus as living examples. Right. I'm looking forward to this. It's called Sadhu Sangha. I want to see how they sit for japa. I want to see, their folk. I want to watch their faces. They embody the ideal. So when we see they don't appear for Mangalarti or seem less externally regimented, then our mind will naturally protest. It's natural, right? If they can be so advanced without coming, then why am I struggling? Or are they neglecting something important that Prabhupada emphasized so strongly? So that mental disturbance doesn't come from envy, but it comes from reverence colliding with confusion. It's the heart saying, I deeply respect them. There's no question. I respect them, but I don't understand. I can't process it. Right? Is that fair?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So for most devotees, regular sadhana practices like Mangalarti, they're essential for purification and protection. We have to, I would say there's different levels of what we can say benefit of doubt that we want to give. We want to be generous in making certain assumptions. Some are elderly, some are sick, some engage late into the night in a very demanding preaching or some administrative service. I've seen it myself. Some of these who are very involved, leaders in the movement, after the 10 o'clock kirtan is over, they go and they answer a bunch of emails and they get on certain phone calls and meetings because they're in a different time zone. And they're up till like 1 o'clock in the morning. And they're elderly. It's just not possible. Plus, they've just traveled. And, of course, to Florida, it was a nice place. I was there. It was quite nice. But for many devotees, it may just not be feasible, just physically speaking. Another is some may already be in a state of constant remembrance. Many of them are very advanced. And their mind never leaves its service. Some travel constantly. They're living under a lot of strain. And they have to rest during certain times to function effectively for the rest of the program, right? So externally it may appear as though they're skipping something important, but internally they may be performing some important service. So, of course, we understand the essence of Mangalarti is not the ritual, it's the awakening of the heart for Krishna. I'm not gaslighting, I'm saying, yes, it's okay to feel pain. You should not suppress the feeling that this is unfortunate, it's a real thing, or this confuses me. It's real. That pain, if we process it humbly, becomes a sign of our love for the standard, not a fault. So we should not think, oh, should I not be having this confusion? No, it's real, it's honest. The danger is when that pain turns into judgment. Oh, they are all fallen, they're not serious. I mean, even I'm better than them, and I'm just a new guy. That's when offense can enter. So we can hold both truths together. That's a sign of intelligence, right? The principle is that Mangalarti is glorious, everyone should come, it's purifying, it's a non-negotiable thing. And then the other part is understanding that Krishna sees the heart, knows each devotee's unique service, absorption, and the situation and all that. And maybe, other than Sadhu Sangha, maybe 320 days of the year, they're at Mangalarti at the temple, and we don't have that visibility. We don't know, you see. We don't know their circumstance. So there are two kinds of examples, right? In ISKCON, we learn from both kinds of examples. There's inspirational examples, those who strictly follow every standard externally, and they remind us of what we should aspire for. They're very good. And then there are transcendental examples, those whose depth of realization may not always look textbook, but who reveal Krishna through their mood, their compassion, their absorption. They teach us what the essence looks like when the externals have become fully internalized. So both are genuine, both serve the movement in very important ways. It's a mistake, it would be a mistake to measure one with the scale of the other. So we have to also keep that in mind. See? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also tells us if we see a fault in a Vaishnava, we should think that Krishna has shown us to test our own humility. If we observe something, this is a test of my humility. You see, do I use it to justify my laxity now? Do I use it to justify a sense of cynicism? Or do we use it to deepen our humility and gratitude for the standards that keep us safe? So in this way, even a disturbance can be purification if offered to the Lord. Remember, offer everything to the Lord, including this disturbance.
Mm.
See? So what can we do practically in this situation? Keep your own vow strong. Don't let others' behavior dilute your own enthusiasm for Mangalarti. Remember, it's your appointment with Krishna. Then, if you're confused, pray for understanding. Krishna, please help me see through this, through the proper devotional lens, not through cynicism or criticism. 3, remember we talked about anumodita? Appreciate other things that they're doing. Appreciate the good. Appreciate silently. Maybe the guru didn't come from Mangalarti, but he's answering hundreds of letters, or he's talking on the phone with some disciple who's having a massive problem or something, That is also service. And then we want to seek balanced association, stay close to those who follow the standards, but also stay close to those who show compassion. Keep the heart and head in balance. That's what I mean by balanced association. So the rule says attend Mangalarti, but the essence says awaken your heart for Krishna at the dawn of the day. So the safest way is to live the essence through the rule. Live the spirit of the law while trying to practice the law as much as possible. All right. I hope that helps, Mathuranath Prabhu. This is a very deep topic. We can go on for this one.
Yeah, no, it does. So much gratitude for sharing, and yeah, I can see my mind has been agitated, and it was really nice hearing all the different perspectives and understandings, and I thought that too. Yes, they're having so much other service. But then I go, well, 3 days couldn't just like get up to be with all the devotees at this special time, and there's all these. I'm going back and forth. I'm having like an internal argument while I'm chanting japa this morning, and yeah. So thank you for beautiful perspectives.
Sure. And Krishna Kumar also mentioned this is something I observed too. During japa time, quite a few of the different group leaders would kind of go in a separate place and take their little group and do japa together in a little circle. You didn't see them, but if you walked around, you'll find these circles sitting here and there, and they're really getting into it. We had our own little circle as well, and we would do meditation before we did japa, like spend 15 minutes really trying to align ourselves. Then we dived into it. So, but you wouldn't see that in the hall because they're doing it here and there. That's another consideration for sure. So it's always better to be generous in our assessment of what's going on.
Yes, absolutely. Broad-minded, open-minded.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mathuranath Prabhu, for being so sincere and vulnerable, for asking intelligent questions, and thank you, Madan Gopal Prabhu, for answering them so nicely. This is what devotees like Madan Gopal Prabhu, this is their service, to answer questions like that. Thank you. Does anyone feel satisfied glorifying Krishna? If not, please unmute yourself, glorify Krishna briefly, and we'll wrap it up. Annabelle, wow, who's that? Is that Giriraj?
It's Govardhan. So beautiful.
Beautiful smile. Giriraj is pleased by our discussion, I guess. Thank you, Annabelle, for channeling Giriraj's mercy. Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you so much. That was a really, I don't know, I felt like I had my own little awakening listening there. So I really am very grateful.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. Thank you for that.
Karen. Annabelle, Isaiah, please recite the Maha Mantra. The whole thing, please, as loud as you can. Okay, there they are.
Teamwork is the dream work.
Yeah, look at them. Go for it.
Oh, you're unmuted. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Great. I wish we could go on and on and on chanting. Thank you very much. Thank you, Annabelle, Isaiah, Karen.
I feel transformed by that mantra chanting. Thank you. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you. Madan Gopal Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Holy Assembled Vaishnava